What do you think of John Johnson? I know he's a guy you liked a lot.
Yeah, Dave, I really like how you put that the Browns weren't all that active, but they were effective. And that's exactly what happened here. Somehow the Browns landed John Johnson, who, when you put on the tape from really 2018 uh, through 2020, he had a banged up season in 2019 there in the middle, injuries. If you go check out, his Pro Football Focus page and whatnot, you might see a little bit more orange and red than you'd like, but that was mostly injury related. His two big seasons again, 2018, 2020, playing for Wade Phillips in 2018, and then Brandon Staley in 2020. I think he comes from a great pedigree. And the value that they got him for, Mary Kay Cabot, my colleague, reporting that he took significantly less money to come to the Browns, competing against teams like the Eagles and the Jaguars, just to name a few, that were willing to offer him probably 3 to 4 million more. That number is not official by any means, but when you look at the free agent market, he comes in right around 11 or 12 million annually. And from Buda Baker down to Eddie Jackson to Kenneth Bird, those guys are 15, $14 million a year players. So to land a player of his caliber, 25 years old, honestly can play everywhere, four spots. I counted. He'll play free. He can play strong safety down in the box. So he's a deep center fielder. He's a box defender. He can cover in the slot, both versus tight ends and bigger receivers. I don't think it's a tough matchup with quick, twitchier guys, but that's going to be tough for anybody. And then he can play some middle linebacker. The Rams led the NFL in two high safety looks, light boxes, only having 7 guys in the box, yet the Rams were a top 5 run defense. Now that has a lot to do with Aaron Donald, but it also speaks to John Johnson's ability to play both the pass and the run simultaneously, instinctively. And I think one thing Browns fans really need to know about John Johnson, aside from going to watch the tape or the story I wrote on him that really details, I think, the intricacies of his game. A year ago, when Brandon Staley was interviewing for the Rams defensive coordinator job, he told Sean McVay that he envisioned building his defense around Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, and John Johnson. Now, we know why you build a defense around Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, right? Arguably, really not even arguably, the best defensive lineman and the best cover guy in this league. But then to put John Johnson's name in there and to trust him with really 1/3 of the responsibility. He was a captain at 25 years old. He wore the green dot in his helmet, meaning he was the communicator, the middle linebacker. He never came off the field. For the price and his upside, the Browns landed a stud, and it's going to be exciting to see what he's able to do. He's both a guy who won't come off the field, an insurance policy to grant Delpit's recovery, and gives Joe Woods the ability to play 3 safeties at once, which we all know he's been dying to do.
Well, obviously, the big names are the edge rushers, but do you think this addresses perhaps what was the biggest need? How many times did the Browns get beat deep in the middle? How many years has it been that tight ends have been just terrorizing Browns defenses?
It's a good question. A lot of it comes down to football philosophy, right? 2 things. I'll table the football philosophy thing for a second. First of all, it's just important to know that this is Grant Delpit insurance. So for a guy coming off of an Achilles injury, I don't think it says anything that they're worried about his recovery. It's just pure insurance, talent at a really fair number. And then as for what they're looking for, they had a huge plan for Grant Delpit to be that guy a year ago. Of course, that didn't pan out due to injury. Now they have him regardless. And if you have 2 of them, once Grant Delpit's fully healthy and he could mature into the player that Joe Woods and Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski clearly think he has the potential to be, drafting him in the 2nd round, then the Browns are going to be very difficult to attack in the middle of the field, which is the complete opposite of what has been really the Achilles heel of this defense for the past few seasons.
The other thing, a young guy, an ascending guy, it's not a guy that's 30-some years old, so he fits that analytics mold of let's get a guy after his rookie contract because he's still trending up.
Yeah, and he just fits the age group of this team, right? The Denzel Ward, Greedy Williams, Myles Garrett. When you're trying to build a nucleus, and then you look on the offensive side of the ball, of course, with the undisputed leader in Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt. This is a Jedrick Wills. This is a team with a young core that isn't inexperienced. They're just in that perfect, if this was a college thing, like junior to senior year, maybe some 5th-year seniors there on this Browns team, and John Johnson fits right in there. I think it's important to note that, talking about the philosophy decision that I tabled there for a second on whether, do cover guys stop the quarterback because they're locked onto the receiver, then allowing your pass rush a second more to get to the quarterback, or do you need a pass rush in order for your cover guys not to have to cover forever until someone eventually gets open? That's a philosophy, right? Like, which one's more important? The Browns here probably signal that in the first 48 hours or so of free agency, I'll say that they signal that secondary is more important. But I'll say that no one wants to become the Tennessee Titans, right? Browns fans saw what a team that can't create pressure, what a defense that can't create pressure looks like. The Browns were only 24th in pressure rate this year. That isn't going to get better because John Johnson's on the team. Now, maybe Joe Woods blitzes more. We can get into that stuff later, but they still have some stuff to address there. But shoring up the middle of the field was a huge first step in really remaking this entire defense, and especially the back seven.